Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. This is the video that just did not want to be made. I swear the universe has been conspiring against me making this video. So if you're seeing this right now, it means I have somehow beaten the odds and gotten this up. Because first, my Sephora order was running behind. Then I had to figure out a time to go to my parents' place, which is like 2 hours away, so I could get my second order, because I ordered one to my place and one to my parents' place, because I'm an idiot. Then I have to find the time to sit down and film the video because I'm on a pretty demanding rotation right now. And then finally, when I do all of those things and I sit down and film the video, my computer just does not save the footage. So this was technically supposed to be a first impressions full face from my Sephora VIB haul, but it will now kind of be a second impressions because I filmed this video already. So it's still not really enough trying it to really know how much I like it, first versus second try, but technically this is not a first impressions video. That being said, I'm still very excited about this. This makeup is still all very new to me, and I am so excited to do a full face with it for you guys, finally. So if that sounds good to you, let's go ahead and get right into this. Headband, obviously. So I'm actually going to start with a little bit of skin prep. My skin has felt atrocious lately. I've been breaking out really, really badly. My skin has felt super dry and just stripped because I've been in the hospital so much over the last few weeks, and the stress and the cold, dry air in there has just wreaked havoc on my skin. So it's actually the perfect time for me to have this on hand. This is my ride or die, tried and true hardcore moisturizer. This is the Youth to the People Adaptogen Deep Moisture Cream. This stuff got me through the winter. And I haven't had it on hand in a couple of months, so I decided to pick one up from the Sephora sale. Very thick, very nourishing. A little bit goes a very long way. So I'm gonna prep my skin with this a little bit to just try to get it feeling a little bit more put together. Normally I do my eyes first, but the products I'm using on my eyes today shouldn't really give me that much fallout, and I hate how my skin looks right now, so we're gonna do base first. First things first, we are going to start with a foundation that I am so excited to own. Technically not something I tried for the first time, but something that I owned for the first time. This is the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. I bought mine in the shade Light 2.5 Yukon. Oh my god, I'm so excited about this. My mom let me try hers back when she first got it, and I was like, this is amazing, but it's a $50 foundation. So I held off for a really long time and then finally was able to pick it up during this sale, and I'm stoked. It's such a good foundation. I would call this a true medium coverage. You can build it a little past medium, but really it kind of wants to be a medium coverage foundation. It is super, super thin in formula. Also, I kind of killed it with the shade match, not gonna lie. It's really, really thin in formula. And while it is, like it says, it's a light reflecting foundation, it has a little bit of a dewy finish. It still dries down and has a really long wear time. I wore my mom's foundation to a baseball game once, and I go crazy at baseball games, and it did not budge. So it's a really impressive foundation, and the finish is just ridiculously beautiful. It's not obnoxiously dewy, where it's your skin literally looks wet all day, but it's a little more than a satin, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's really impressive. $50. Ooh, that's steep. That is steep. I feel like one thing that kind of is similar to this is the L'Oreal True Match Nude serum thing that comes with the dropper. It's a little thicker in texture, but it has a similar quality where it maintains some of the dewy finish but still dries down. And I think it has a pretty similar coverage level as well. Now, do I regret grabbing this one? No, not at all. It's absolutely stunning, and I do feel like it has a little bit more of a blurring property, and I really like the thin texture of it because I feel like it emphasizes things less. That being said, you can get a pretty similar effect from the L'Oreal one, in my opinion. I'm going to add a little bit more on a couple of spots that I feel like just aren't going so hot lately. The stress acne has been so real, guys. But this is my last rotation of third year. Super crazy to think about, but I am just a couple weeks away from starting my last year of medical school. I'm like barely over a year away from being a doctor. That's absolutely insane. So after these couple weeks are over, I get to start doing elective rotations. I've been doing the third year core rotations, we call them, which is basically like the stuff that everybody has to do, you know, like I've gone through internal medicine, surgery, OBGYN, pediatrics, all of that stuff. But starting in a few weeks, I get to start doing things that I pick. So very excited to be doing that because I'm a little worn out. What I'm doing right now is exhausting. Exhausting. So I'm ready for a breather. I really am. Anyway, kind of off topic. Point is, I love how this makes my skin look. It's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. Like, yeah, it's a $50 foundation, but like, do I regret it? No. I don't. Moving on to concealer. This is something I have been wanting to try for so long because people talk about it so much. This is the Kosas Revealer Concealer. I bought a mini because I've heard it goes bad really quickly, and also I have so many concealers. I figured just like having a mini would be more than enough. This is in the shade 1.5C, and I think the mini was only like $15, and then obviously it was like additionally on sale because it was Sephora sale, so like I got this for pretty cheap. So when I did try it that first time, when I tried filming this video before, I was very impressed. It blends like a dream, and I got the shade match pretty good. So let's see if it does as well with my skin being even more stressed out than it was the last time I filmed this. One thing that I have heard about this concealer, just through the grapevine, is that if you are a person who has under eye circles that aren't just from like being tired, right? Like they're not just pigmentation circles. They're actually like shadows from your eyes being a little bit deeper set, which I found out not too long ago. I realized like, oh, actually a certain element of that is just shadow from my eyes being deep set and my brow casting a shadow. This concealer actually somehow like makes them look lighter, even though it's literally a physical shadow on your face. And I heard that and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, it's a physical shadow. There's literally just no way that is possible. But actually it does. Look, I can't explain that, all right? I'm a science girly, but I cannot explain how this physically makes shadows look lighter. Like, look how bright my under eyes look. And again, it blended like nothing. It's super creamy, super, super creamy. And I feel like using a sponge with it doesn't pick up too much coverage, which is really nice. But if you wanted more coverage, I imagine if you blended it with a finger, it would be like full coverage, like really full. So I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. I hope mine doesn't go bad because I've been hearing they go bad really quick. So let me know if you have any experience with the Kosas concealer. If you've had yours for a while, like did it start to go bad? And like when? So I have a powder to use, but I have some cream cheek products, so I'm going to use those first. So for bronzer, I picked up a cream bronzer because I've been on a cream bronzer kick. Powder bronzers just kind of haven't been doing it for me, especially on the high-end side. I don't know. Like I feel like I have some drugstore powder bronzers that are like as good as any of the high-end ones I've ever tried. So it takes a lot to get me to even consider a high-end powder bronzer these days, but creams are just different, okay? So this one I had to try. This is from Tower 28. This is their new Sculptino cream bronzers. And I love the Beach Please cream blushes. So I was like, oh, these are probably going to be really good. And as soon as I touched it, I was like, oh, this formula is exactly like the blush formula. The blush formula, if you've ever tried it, it's very creamy, super emollient. As soon as you touch it, it melts onto your finger. And it has that quality on your cheek as well. But it does set down. It stays a little bit dewy, but it does set. Like, it doesn't really budge. Some cream blushes will slip and slide all over your face. I don't find that happens to me with the Tower 28. Some people who have oilier skin, that might happen to, but I'm a drier skin gal, so it doesn't happen to me at all. So, very, very excited about this bronzer because if it performs similarly, spoiler alert, it does. I don't know about the wear time because I generally, after I film, kind of take my makeup off because I don't want it to sit on my skin longer than it has to because it breaks me out sometimes. But I eventually will do longer wear tests with all of these products and get back to you guys on all of the details in that regard. But I really like this shade. It's a beautiful, just neutral kind of shade. Maybe a little bit yellow toned, but nothing too dramatic. Let's see if I can get a good swatch going. That's a little built up. Actually, no, I take it back. It is pretty true neutral. It applies so easily. The blend is great. And I actually really enjoy how light the shade is because I feel like it makes it so easy to just throw it on. Like, I feel like I barely have to work to blend it out because, first of all, it just sinks directly into the foundation that I had on. Directly in. No effort at all. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. The formula it's just like the blushes. If you like the blushes, the formula is the same. So cream blushes, I am a silly goose and I bought two. I'm not going to use both today because one of them is another color of a formula that I already know how much I love. So I'm going to use the one I haven't used. But I am going to show you. I did buy another shade of the Rare Beauty liquid blush. And I bought it in the red, which I am so excited about. Ever since I tried the Fenty cream blush in the red shade, I have been like obsessed with trying true red cream blushes. I'm so excited to wear this sometime. I did try it on my face when I was just playing around a little bit with some makeup not that long ago, and I loved it. It takes less than half of a dot per cheek. It's so pigmented. The other one that I have, I can do like a dot per cheek that I can get away with because it's a lighter shade. This is like intense. But the formula is beautiful, blends out like a dream. I love it. Obviously, it's the Rare Beauty blush. The one that is newer to me is the Glossier Cloud Paint. I have been wanting to try one of these things for years. And now that Glossier is at Sephora, I was like, this is my golden opportunity. This is a gorgeous shade called Storm. I'm going to show you a little swatch on the back of my hand. It comes out pretty deep, but when you blend it out, it's just the most beautiful, like, sunburnt, rosy color. This is so right up my alley. Absolutely gorgeous. I did find out the hard way that these are, in fact, extremely pigmented. So I am going to squeeze out a little bit, and we're going to go from there. This might actually be more than enough for this entire cheek. I'm telling you, they're super, super pigmented. They're absolutely gorgeous. They have a really thin, kind of serum-y texture, which means they sink right in to what's already on the face. Look at that. It's so beautiful. I love it. I get the hype. I get the hype with the cloud paint. That might be too much. That's okay. One thing I've found is that although they are very pigmented, it's pretty forgiving. If you kind of just keep blending, it will kind of die down a little bit. And besides, I'm the kind of girly who's like, if I don't look like I'm wearing too much blush, then I'm not wearing enough. I think this is such a gorgeous shade. It really I'm going to put a little bit on my temples because it really gives this like sunburnt kind of look, at least on my skin tone. This is like pretty much the exact color that I turn when I'm sunburnt, which is my favorite blush look, honestly. I'm obsessed with how that looks. I put such a small dot on my hand and that's how much is left. I got a lot of pigment. Like, they are very pigmented. Honestly, I would buy more shades though. I would. It's a really, really nice formula. Like, I feel like the serum blush game has kind of, like, that market was cornered long ago with these, you know? You don't see that many serum blushes coming out, and I honestly think it's just because, like, no one's ever gonna do it like this. It really is just gorgeous. And that dewy finish. Here's the thing though, it actually kind of takes on the finish of the foundation. So I'm curious about trying it with a little bit more of a matte foundation to see if it's dewy or if it takes on the finish of that foundation. Because it is so thin, I don't know if it really has its own dewy finish. I'll keep you guys posted on that if you're curious. Anyway, that's it for my cream products. So now I'm gonna go ahead and powder. I got a mini of the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder. This is in the shade Pound Cake. One thing I will tell you that people were not kidding about is the scent. It is extremely strong. It's like floral, fruity, sweet, something like that. It's a lot. So if you're sensitive to scents, do not. I don't mind it, but I will say it lingers. Like after I powdered my face with it, when I tried it, when I filmed this the first time, I could still smell it for like the rest of the video. So just do be aware. I'm gonna use the little puff that it comes with to powder some of this on my forehead, just because the light coming in my window is really kind of distracting. Look how much that mattifies though, like goodness. I mean, obviously I like a dewy finish, but wow. It's very impressive. This doesn't seem to me like the kind of powder that's gonna take on the finish of the makeup underneath it. Like, I feel like the Kosas powder takes on the finish of whatever you put it on top of. It's that kind of formula. This is gonna mattify you for your life. But, you know, that can be a good thing, especially if you're an oilier gal. One thing I like, though, that I noticed from trying it out is that it mattifies, but it doesn't, like, make me look dry and scaly, because sometimes that looks pretty rough on me, being a dry girl. I haven't noticed that happening. Again, I would have to wear it for longer to really be able to tell, but from my experience so far, that hasn't really happened. A little bit goes a long way with this stuff. I'm gonna pick up a little bit on my sponge and put it under my eyes. It didn't really, the Kosas concealer didn't settle very much into my lines during that at all. It's very impressive. It probably doesn't even really need to be set, but it's the principle of the thing. Using a very small amount that I tapped off on the back of my hand. Rubbing it off on the side of the container, tapping it off on the back of my hand, like very small amount of powder. Because going too hard with a mattifying powder on my super dry under eyes is not it. But I do really like how it makes them look. I feel like it's very, very smoothing. My forehead looks literally poreless. It's actually kind of unbelievable. If you're looking for a smoothing powder or a mattifying powder, this is probably your gal. I'm very impressed. He wanted to be in the video. Let me add some highlighter before we move on to the eyes. For highlighter, of course, the one that I had to try has been the one that everybody's trying lately, which is the Rare Beauty Positive Light Highlighter, I think it's called. Okay. I got mine in the shade Exhilirate, which is this sort of soft golden shade. The texture is so nice. It's super thin. Like, you run your finger over it and you can barely feel it picking up anything, but it is very shiny, very, very thin, kind of a baked gelée type deal. There it is. And you know what it reminds me of a little bit? Not identical, but a little bit. It reminds me of my all-time favorite highlighter, which is the ABH Amrezy collab that you can't get anymore. So, oh my god. It's extremely shiny. If you are a subtle highlighter girly, this is not it for you. But if you want to be seen from space like myself, you might consider it. It's gorgeous. And if you feel like you missed out on the ABH Amrezy one, I'm telling you, this is the closest thing I have tried to it. That Revlon one from the drugstore is similar, but this just matches the texture a little bit better, in my opinion. I really like the packaging too. It's in a similar packaging to the melting blushes, and it just, I don't know, it feels nice. So 5 stars to Rare Beauty for this one. I think it's incredible. Moving on to the eyes, we have some products that I'm very excited about. But first I'm going to prime my eyes, and I did not buy an eyeshadow primer because I don't buy high-end eyeshadow primer because it's a waste of money, so I'm going to use my Milani eyeshadow primer real quick. Which, by the way, if you're still buying the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer, this is the same exact thing. Just letting you know. He's really trying to be seen today. While the primer is setting down, I'm actually going to go ahead and put some gel in my eyebrows. This is just a little like point perk that I ordered, but I've been meaning to try it. This is the Benefit Fluff Up Brow Wax. And I have been kind of into the whole laminated thing lately. I can't do it super well with my eyebrows. They just don't really have the right shape and they don't really grow the right way. I don't know how to get my brows to look like that, but I like kind of having them stick up in the front is the point. This I was very impressed with when I tried it filming it the first time. One thing I can say for sure that I like about it is, number one, no white flakies. It did not flake out of my eyebrows at all for a second, which is very important to me. Especially in like a wax, I found that waxes especially can look really thick and white grossness in your eyebrows. My eyebrow looks so terrible. I messed it up when I was trying to shave it. Anyway, this one does not do that. So that was fantastic. The second thing I noticed was that once it dried down, it didn't feel crusty. Also a big deal for wax. I do feel like it puts the hairs where I want them, you know, when I can. It's a handy little wax, and I'll tell you a little bit more later about why I think it's so impressive. But for now, we're moving on to the main event of the eyes. So, oh my gosh. This I'm really excited about because I'm so lame. This is the Rare Beauty, again, what are these called? They're like the liquid eyeshadows. I forget what they're called, but this is in the shade Nearly Neutral. I love the packaging because you can set it down and it won't roll. And I heard these were phenomenal, so I really had to try one because I've been a huge sucker lately for just like a neutral cream shadow in the crease and then a glitter topper all over the lid. So that's what we're doing. These remarkably pigmented. I used way too much when I tried it the first time, so I am starting with a small amount. I really like this shade as well. It's a little bit of a rosier neutral shade. It's interesting. It's not like the other like brown cream eyeshadows that I have. That took no work to blend. Seconds of like back and forth, up, done. I actually like that even better than how I had it done last time. To be honest with you. The edges blend out beautifully. It's no harsh lines. It was great. I think it's great. I get why people were hyping this up because it's really, really good. And I feel like I've only heard a couple of people talk about it, and I really want everybody to know that this is like so easy. If you are into the quick, easy eyeshadow game, if you are into the one and done kind of deal, and honestly, if you're wanting to try some cream eyeshadow, but you're a little bit intimidated by some, this I feel like is a really good one to start with. It's just so easy. Look at that. That's just so easy. I will say though, once it dries, it's dried. You are not blending it anymore. But you do get a decent amount of time to blend. Like it doesn't dry down immediately. Like one that I don't think would be good for beginners is like Danessa Myricks, the little paint tubes. Those dry fast, and when they dry, I mean, I don't care. I'm just adding a little definition in the outer corners. When those Danessa Myricks ones dry, I don't care. You could take a friggin' makeup wipe to them, and you'd have to scrub the holy hell out of it to get it to come off. Let alone to blend. They blend beautifully when you first apply them, but my goodness, if you spend 2 seconds too long, you are done. These, you have a little bit more of a grace period with. I think it looks great. Like, it just looks so smooth. I'm really impressed. And a little goes such a long way that this tube is going to last me forever. Just a really nice, super easy, neutral cream eyeshadow. You know, it's a workhorse. This is the exciting part. If you know me, you know I love a glittery, toppery, shimmy, shiny, wet-looking shade. I live for it. If you know me, I love the ColourPop Super Shock shadows, and my favorite is the shade Ritz. Ritz is purportedly a dupe for a cult classic glitter topper eyeshadow, which is Urban Decay Moondust Shadow in Space Cowboy. I already have Ritz, but I bought Space Cowboy anyway. I wanted to see how similar they were, okay? And I'm gonna be honest with you, this is prettier. They're very similar, but the glitter in this one is finer. It's just got a little something special, okay? It just does. This is exactly the kind of look that I have been living, breathing, and dying for lately. These two are about to become workhorse products in my collection. That's a fact. The glitter is so fine. It kind of reminds me of the Fenty Diamond Bomb glitter. It's super, super finely milled, like really tiny, and it just makes it look extra wet and glistening and juicy. It's really good. I know it's a $22 single shadow or $23 or however much it is. I know. And it's ridiculous. Like, if you are not, like, committed to the wet topper look, ColourPop Ritz is, like, almost exactly the same thing. I acknowledge that. This is a little bit better, though. Ooh, gotta hydrate. I'm gonna pop a little bit of this on the lower lash line as well. I'm just gonna take a small blending brush and just tap it on the wand, pick up a little bit, and blend it. So easy. I love it. I love it. And then to finish off in the inner corner, I'm just going to go back with the Rare Beauty highlighter, pick it up on a little tiny shader brush, and just pop that right here. I love it. I love it. This is like my go-to, just like leaving the house, running errands kind of look lately, and I'm obsessed with this. This is exactly what I want. all the time. To finish up the eyebrows, I didn't buy like a pigment brow product, and I've been trying to use up my brow pencils, so I just grabbed my ABH Brow Wiz, and I'm gonna just throw this in the brows. Yeah, so the brow wax did the exact same thing that it did when I tried it the first time that made me like it so much. So I'm very familiar with the Brow Wiz. I use it all the time. I've owned several of them. I know how this performs. The brow wax is so interesting because I feel like it grabs the pencil. It just picks up the pigment right off the pencil and puts it where you want it. It's like a magnet for pigment. It's so interesting. I have to try it with some other pigment products to see if it does it with all of them or if it's just this one. But it's so interesting because I've used this on a bunch of different waxes and gels before, and I've never had one where it feels like, I can't even really describe it in any other way other than it just feels like it just sticks right to it. I barely have to put any effort in to get it to go exactly where I want it. It's so interesting. Also, again, my brows are still stuck exactly how I put them. Even after I went through it with the pencil, they didn't move, number one. And number two, they're not crusty. I'm really impressed by that brow wax, honestly. Like, I might end up going back and buying the full size because it's an interesting product and it does all of the things that I want a clear brow hold product to do. I don't know. Very impressed. I'll have to fill you in on how it holds throughout the day and how it works with products that aren't the Brow Wiz, but I'm very impressed. For setting spray, I picked up a repurchase, actually, for one of my favorite setting sprays I've ever used, ever. This is the Milk Hydro Grip setting spray. I got another mini because the mini lasted me a decent amount of time. And it's actually still going, so I'm not going to open that one yet. I'm going to finish this one first, but I absolutely love this. This is possibly the best setting spray I've ever used. I love the mister. I love how cool it feels going on the face. I love the formula. I love that it looks a little bit dewy but doesn't add too much shine. I love how it melts everything together. I love the wear time. I love everything about this setting spray. This is my favorite setting spray. So, of course, I had to have another one. I like how it smells, too. It's interesting. I can't really describe the smell. It's just interesting. Like, almost, I want to say, like, rubbery, plasticky, but not in a bad way. Like, that makes it sound bad. It's not. I like to just press it in a little bit with my sponge, and it adds back a little bit of the dewiness that I had taken away with the powder. I love it. It's so good. Now that that's on, I can do mascara, which was also a repurchase. Say it with me. Rare Beauty. The Perfect Strokes mascara it's phenomenal. Again, I'm still kind of finishing off my old one, so this is incredible mascara. This is like the only justifiable high-end mascara purchase for me. I think drugstore mascaras do exactly what high-end mascaras do 99.9% of the time, and some of the time they actually do it better. This one, though, this one is different. I can't explain it. It never gets all over my eyelids. It never smudges. It never flakes. It lasts forever. It's not waterproof, but the lasting power is phenomenal. It gives my lashes this like fluffy, even like look. It never clumps up. It's so easy to use. That's my big thing with mascara that like sets me off is when I use it and then it gets all clumpy in some spots and sparse and weird in other spots and I have to go back and fix it. I hate that, especially when I spend a bunch of money on a mascara. This one though, this is the mini and it's only $11. So it's drugstore price actually. It's phenomenal. I don't know if Rare Beauty's really ever done anything wrong in my book. I feel like for every day, one coat is honestly enough. Like, it's that good. This took me no effort. This took me about 15 seconds. It adds just the right amount of volume and length for me, for what I like in a mascara. I would say it's a little more lengthening than volumizing. One coat. Just one. I could add more, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to keep it sweet here. 2 coats is enough for glam, like full glam mascara. Seriously. 2 coats. Usually I'm going upwards of 3 or 4 coats for glam. That setting spray has made me just a touch dewier than I wanted to be, so I am going to grab that powder. I think the combination of the dewy foundation and the dewy setting spray just has me looking a little bit, you know? It doesn't really look like that when I'm not sitting in direct sunlight. There, better. Still has a little bit of the shine. All right, and finally, let's do lips. So I bought a little lip trio from my queen, Miss Pat McGrath. This came with a lip liner, a matte lipstick, and a lip gloss. I love Pat McGrath. You know this about me. My last video was literally all about Pat McGrath and how obsessed I am with her. So this is not surprising. But I've never tried her lip products before. So these are exciting for me. So this is the Permagel Ultra Lip Pencil in the shade Divine Rose. Came with a very sharp point. I appreciate that. Extremely easy to apply. And I did a hand swatch of this and let it dry down, and it does not rub off. The lasting power is very good from what I can tell. On the lips, I'll have to update you, but from just testing it out, the lasting power is very impressive. But it better be, because it's Pat McGrath. It's a little bit pinker than I expected from Divine Rose, because I knew that the lipstick shade had a little bit more of a nude undertone. Still pretty pink, but more nude undertone than this. But I think it makes them complement each other really well. This is the Divine Rose lipstick. And you can see they're not quite identical shades. But I think that's a good thing. This one I'm going to have to keep you posted about. And here's why. It does remind me, just initially trying it, it reminds me a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Revolution formula. Not identical. Definitely has a little bit more grip to it, which is my problem with the Charlotte Tilbury. It's very, very slippy. Super dimethicone-y, and it slips and slides all over the place, and it never sets down for me. So this one, I'm like hesitant, because it has a similar like very smooth, slippy feeling. Once it dries down, it might not do that, because it has a little bit more of a grip to it just coming right out of the bullet. I will keep you guys posted when I try this on its own. However, I'm not trying it on its own right now. I'm going to use the gloss. This is her lip gloss in, again, Divine Rose, and I really like this gloss. I think this is going to be one that I use a lot. It has a really nice, like, soft vanilla scent. It's not overpowering at all. Very, very thin texture, like lip oily texture. Not an ounce of stick, and beautifully shiny. This is a winner, honestly. I see the hype behind Pat McGrath lip glosses. I feel like I hear people talk about them a lot. I get it. Really, it feels luxurious. It feels luxurious. I get it. Do I think it's that much better than like the Tower 28? No, and considering that full price, these are like almost $40 and the Tower 28 are like 16. I would still say just get a Tower 28 gloss because they're not that different. I do like the smell though. The smell is better. And with that, this is the finished look. What do we think? I feel like this whole purchase was a win. This whole purchase was a win. I regret absolutely nothing. I feel so cute. Love the lip combo. The eye look is everything I want right now. Simple, but really, really glistening and gorgeous. Obviously, I already know how much I love that mascara. The base. I can't get over this blush shade. I love how my eyebrows look. I'm just really impressed. I feel like I kind of killed it picking out these products, but what do you think? That's what's important. Let me know what you think of these products, how you think they performed. Let me know if you've tried any of them before, and let me know what you picked up from the Sephora sale and what you thought of it so far. I'm really, really excited to hear what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, if you got something out of it, leave me a like down below. I really appreciate it when you guys let me know that you're enjoying the content. And if you have been enjoying my content, I would really, really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button down below. I would absolutely love to have you, and it means so, so much to me when you guys stick around. So with that all being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did, this very long-awaited video. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.